And some people might think, oh, well, probably because their mom and pop might be suffering a little bit because of the economic times and they can't collect they're not getting the increases in their retirement from the government anymore from Social Security, so maybe they're going home to help them pay bills. No. No, you bozo. They're going home because they can't find a job and they can't afford anything and they got to pay back that college loan that they can never, ever get rid of or bankrupt out of. So they're going home. They're going to work at McDonald's or Walmart or wherever. Sure, they may help pay the bills, but they're going to be paying back that college loan and they don't have a good paying job, bottom line. And then, oh, hey, by the way, we got a war going on here. We could use you guys. And you never know. The government might say, hey, we'll erase your college loan debt if you come fight this war as an incentive. Ooh, that sounds good, like a sheep would say. And off to where they go. And I'm going to thank you. When you're getting on that ship or getting on that plane, I'm going to be standing out there over at MacDill Air Force Base, waving the American flag, singing all the old, God bless America and proud to be an American. All the, right? Remember Hulk Hogan's old song? He used to come out and pull his shirt off and wrestle. The little bozo. Proud to be an American. Right? And you're just waving in this daze. Now, back then, it was cool because Hulk Hogan did it. I'm going to do it now with the modern version. Wait, and my little zombie look on my face. Hey, I just want to thank you guys. Not for fighting for my freedom and keeping me safe at home, because you're not doing that. You're actually pissing more people, more countries off to make them attack us. But I do want to thank you so that I don't have to go and leave my kids and wife home, possibly fatherless, by the time I get out of that war. So I am here waving my flag because I appreciate you, and tell your parents thanks for sending your dumb ass on that plane, on that boat, signing up for the military to go fight a war for the bankers. And I know jobs are scarce right now, so if you leave, it opens up more jobs for those of us who are smart enough to stay and not get involved in the nonsense. So, sorry you've been taken advantage of, but you're also too dumb to figure it out. I'm sorry. Yeah, you've been taken advantage of. Yeah, you've been lied to. But we're all responsible for our own decisions. Back on track. The education crisis of 2010 is indicated to continue unabated through to a near-term peak of emotional intensity in March 2011. The destruction and disruption of the ability to provide schooling of winter 2010-2011 changes to rebuilding as the northern hemisphere moves into spring. This intent to educate is a different linguistic set than that which houses schooling in America. This new set of intent to educate may be the first sign of a new structure or form of education in the USA. The detail layers within this structure have many references to various areas of knowledge and almost none toward any of the formalities of control. Additional notes such as forms, principles, buildings, or pretty much anything else relating to government. This may be indicative of the emergence of a natural response level within the populace to fill the gap created by the ripple effects of dollar paper debt system destruction. I almost wonder, does that mean like people who realize we still got to teach our kids, people still need to go to school and learn, and since the schools are not functioning, we'll just go in there and people will start teaching for free? I don't know. I have no idea what that means. I'm not sure. The details do provide for a wide variety of educational opportunities, but as noted, without much in the way of an education system around then. We all piling up in the neighborhood houses and teaching? Yeah, I don't know. The data also is growing very rapidly and chaotically. The accretion pattern suggests that spring of 2011 will just be the first part of a very, very long and complicated process of discarding the old education system, which was dominated by the powers that be, in formal academia. The world will be chaotic indeed. The data sets are pointing to a time in late winter of 2010, 2011, maybe February, not quite sure, in which the American elite demonstrate just why the education system is corrupt and morally bankrupt. This will come about in their attempts to prop up and maintain control of the financially bankrupt school systems nationwide. And then there's the title, Some Oboes Check Out. Along with the retirement and healthcare systems, the education system as it is currently constituted, additional note, hint, hint, will be shocked and rocked by the currency problems, warfare, of November. In other words, maybe warfare 2. From November through to March of 2011, the populous US of A entity gains large amounts of supporting aspects attribute sets for the implosion and coagulation of the retirement and healthcare systems. The wording here seeming begins about the same time, and by March of 2011, the currency wars to the death, are showing as having taken such a huge toll costs / on retirees and the chronically ill that death rates across the nation are up and rising so rapidly as to cause the mainstream media attention. Not only is this an issue of higher costs for healthcare and medicines due to a collapsing and dying dollar, but also the impacts of bad weather and global currency warfare will be seen to throttle / squeeze the supply chain for plants for medicines. Plants as in plants that grow for medicine, or plants as in distribution plants, facilities? Maybe both. I don't know. And it doesn't say. Further, problems relating to the foreclosure coagulation and the trend lines for never employed again status for so many over 50-year-olds, or OBOs, which stands for obsolete, cause so many older humans to drop into despair that by spring, say about mid-April of 2011, the suicide rates nationwide will bring national visibility. Most of the suicides will be facing a perception wall that has them boxed into a particular view of reality. This view will be evident, additional note, just as in the previous depressions of the 1930s, in the eyes of the people in the streets. So, this view will be evident in the eyes of the people in the streets. This display of acceptance of defeat within these people's eyes is actually very symptomatic of one of the expected responses by the powers that be to overstimulation via circumstances of the reptilian part of the mind, which is the fight or flight mode of the mind. They, the powers that be, expect a certain percentage of the populace to just shut down. And you'll recall they've been talking about that in other reports, about people not just zombied, walking aimlessly, thinking about killing themselves. They just can't even cope with what's going on around them. It's been in several of the last many reports. And now we're getting a little more meat out of that one, a little more information, and it's coming sooner. For many, the shutdown will come in the form of For many, the shutdown will come in the form of deliberate acts that lead to death. These new suicides will include those trying to fake an accident for insurance purposes, which I actually will applaud them, as opposed to just giving up and thinking you've lost, life has defeated you via the powers that be and your current circumstances that were out of your control. File the insurance claim. Do what you have to do to survive. There's nothing wrong with any being, any species, any animal of doing whatever it takes to survive, regardless of what you have to do to survive, which includes breaking into people's houses, stealing their food. Anybody in the situation is going to do it. And you would too if your family was starving or you were starving, no matter how good of a person, how religious you are, how close to God you think you are, it will not matter. Let someone starve for 2 or 3 days without eating a single bite of food and watch what they do, watch what they become. And it's only a human, whatever, animal instinct that every living creature has. Keep that in mind. So, sadly, the suicides are not the only death wave to show up in the populous US of A entity. We also have data accretion patterns for a death wave that is surprising / shocking in both numbers and speed as the healthcare system crumbles. And I'm thinking about a girl I work with, as well as my sister, talking about going into, I'm thinking about going to college. I'm thinking about going to school part-time and getting some degree in the medical industry. That seems good. You can get out real quickly and make $15, $20 an hour with a couple years even. And all I do as I'm talking is this is what I do. Do you realize I got a webbot report in my back pocket? Cause I've got a webbot report in my pocket, and the other one's holding some silver. Haven't I told you that before? Didn't I tell you what the price of gold and silver was going to do? Didn't I tell you about all these news stories you're reading right now about people going home back when the foreclosure nightmare really started, killing themselves? And I told you, pay attention to where they work. Don't think it's just some random crazy nut job. Pay attention to where the guy who went home killed his family and his wife. Pay attention to where he worked. What was he doing? Oh, he used to be in the mortgage industry. Oh, he was owned his own mortgage company, which went bankrupt, and had a lifestyle that was very nice, 6-figure income probably. Realized the party's over. I can never get a job like this ever again. I have no other qualifications. Where am I going to go? What is my family going to do now? We're all going to suffer. I can't go to McDonald's. Oh my God. His mind went crazy because of that. Went home, killed his parents or his family. There was numerous stories in 2009. I was talking all the time on Facebook about it. Hey, here's another one. I told you, look, here's another one. Check this one out. See where she works. Look what that guy just did. They were letting him go. They were firing him. Take a peek. He went back and shot them all up. Not because he's crazy or lost his mind. He got fired. Has to do with the economy. Has to do with the situation that we're facing. That's what I'm telling you to pay attention to. It's not going to be some random event, etc. So I'm calling all these things out on Facebook. Anyways, let me get back on track. Sadly, the suicides are not the only death wave to show up in the populous US of A entity. We also have data accretion patterns for a death wave that is surprising/shocking in both numbers and speed as the healthcare system crumbles. These deaths are showing up as due to the lack of sustenance, medicines/machinery/care support. The accrual of the aspect attribute sets for this subset area include repeated references to what could be millions of people so affected. Thus, maybe hundreds of thousands die, and thus millions by extension are affected. The associations that the rapid degradation of the healthcare